want to talk about like just this clinical insight I had from a session this week with one of my clients. Something that had come up as we were talking that turned out for him like really resonated. So I wanted to share that in case it's useful for others. So I will encourage people in a lot of ways when it comes to dealing with their emotional selves to really think about it as their emotional self is a child that they're trying to take care of. And they are trying to figure out, well, how do I parent this vulnerable part of myself? What we were talking about is how with social anxiety, we can end up being pretty mean parents to ourselves. So there was this metaphor that came out of this that sort of gets at this, and it helps you understand maybe a better way to come at things. So I was trying to use a metaphor to get this idea across. So I was saying, like, imagine there's a child, and the child wants to play baseball. And you send the kid, as a parent, you send the kid out there and say, oh, go have fun, go play baseball. That's what you want to do. But I have these expectations of how well you must play. You must do this really well. Don't make any mistakes. Be really great at all these different things. Basically have really high performance standards. And firstly, imagine how that kid is going to feel playing baseball. They're not just playing having fun. They're trying to live up to a series of standards. If that were you, if you imagine that kid, what's that kid going to feel? Probably anxious, probably tight, probably stressed out, probably worrying about being good enough or not good enough. Are they going to miss the ball? Are they going to drop the catch? So the parents have set them up with these very high performance standards. Now imagine after the game and the parents standing there angry, and they start yelling at the kid for all the things that the kid did wrong. They start being really critical, pointing out mistakes, going over and over again, punishing them, telling them they'll never learn if they don't do these things and don't think about what they've done wrong, using shame as punishment, criticism as punishment, attack, belittling, reminding them of all the things they've done wrong in the past, all the other times they've dropped the ball playing baseball, or in a less severe level, just like bringing up to them again and again, oh, you made this mistake, you made that mistake, remember this, remember that, remember you did that wrong, and just bringing it up again and again and again. So imagine, one, how's that kid going to feel after the game? What are they going to be going through? This is self-criticism, punishment. What are they going to be going through? Probably a bunch of shame, probably feeling really bad. And then imagine, well, now they have another game the next week. Another game of baseball coming up. So how are they going to feel entering this game of baseball, this kid? Knowing there's high performance standards and there's a lot of attack and criticism happening afterwards. That kid is going to go into that game very anxious. They're going to be worried the whole time. They're going to be having a very bad time. In fact, you wouldn't be surprised if they just decided they didn't want to do baseball anymore. They just didn't like doing it. Because anything they do wrong, they're going to be punished so harshly for. It's going to be brought up again and again and again. They're going to be shamed and criticized. So in this situation, we're talking about a parent-child thing. But the idea is, how do we respond to ourselves after we've socialized, before and after we've socialized? If we are going in with this, I must perform this well, I must do this, I must get this, I must do this, I must make no mistakes, then we're making ourselves anxious, because that's really, really unrealistic. That's going to not be fun at all. And if we are ruminating afterwards, if we're going over the interaction, we're pointing out the mistakes, We're like criticizing ourselves. We're telling us, oh, we shouldn't have done that. We're shaming ourselves. We're doing all these things. We're going to go through the same thing that a kid would go to. We're basically parenting ourselves really, really harshly. And what that means is when it comes to social anxiety treatment, high performance standards make us anxious and trigger shame. Rumination and attack afterwards raise anxiety, makes us feel ashamed. And all those things make us feel bad, not enjoy socializing, and make us less likely to even want to do it. What we want is those things keep triggering our threat system. We don't want to trigger our threat system. What we want is to have a low standard. We want to try to have fun. We want to just go out and socialize. We don't really want to think about it too much afterwards. We certainly don't want to punish ourselves. We want to be compassionate. We want to be encouraging, supportive. We want to say things to ourselves the way that we would want to say them to a kid. We want to be proud of ourselves for doing things. We want to be kind, we want to be compassionate. We want to keep the standards low. And doing that will actually put us into an affiliative mode, an affiliation mode, a way that makes us want to go play and have fun. We can, when we're heading into social settings, ask ourselves, on the sort of the parent level, what am I demanding of myself in this situation? Is that realistic? Is that helpful? Can I deliberately, concretely lower these standards down to something very simple, like be kind to people or show curiosity, be warm? Like one of my goals for myself was be curious and try to have fun, and post-event, the self that is criticizing, that kind of parent self, the desire to do that is going to show up. The ideas are going to show up. Where we have a choice is deciding, are we going to actively engage with that? Are we going to actively do some criticism and rumination and then kind of choose not to when it's a choice? And then deliberately choose to speak to our vulnerable emotional self in those supportive, encouraging, kind ways.